Do you have any involvement with vocational rehab?
Yes.
So can you explain that? Because I don't understand it, honestly. And so I know people that are still in the military, because I've been told that you can use up all of your GI Bill benefits, but if you still need follow-on training to get whatever certification or whatever you need for this job field, then you can then utilize your vocational rehab benefits, which are similar to the GI Bill.
That can be the case. I mean, VRNE or vocational rehab is kind of a gray area.
Okay.
And the reason I say it that way is the counselors that put students into plans for vocational rehab have the ability to approve certain things within their degree plan as long as they could justify.
Okay.
So anything having to do with the federal government, you have to justify certain spending. So in the case for VRNE students, vocational rehab, if you have this requirement for training, let's say I want to be an engineer, right? I've already used my GI Bill and I want to continue pursuing this, bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. If I go to a vocational rehab counselor, I've met the minimum requirements for that benefit, and that counselor meets with me, they're going to tell me, okay, well, how much time do you have remaining until, you complete your degree? Because technically, in most cases in industry, you only need a bachelor's degree as an engineer.
Yeah.
Depending upon what you want to do.
Yeah.
Usually, a master's degree is for people that are in managerial positions or maybe more technical aspects of a certain field. But nonetheless, when you get into that position and you speak to a counselor, they're going to make a determination based off of the evidence that you've provided, whether or not you are a suitable applicant to continue training.
Okay.
So you have to build your own case to those counselors and show them that you need this extra training in order for you to get through and then get hired.
Okay.
Because the vocational rehab is not an extension of GI Bill. It works in the same fashion in that we certify it the same way and that you get paid a certain amount of money if you have post-9/11 entitlement time remaining. But the last thing the VA wants to do is put you on an extension for a year and a half, 2 years because you can't seem to complete your training. So the government always wants a return on their investment.
Yeah.
So you have to build your case and make that determination or enable that counselor to, approve you for a program.
What are some of the common misperceptions that you get when people are coming to get that kind of stuff certified?
Well, the most common one is that we approve people here in this office, or that we're an actual VA office.
Okay.
So our Veterans Center is an office of San Diego State.
Yeah. It's
not in any way a part of the Department of Veterans Affairs. We work in conjunction with the Veterans Affairs Department. I mean, we're a partnership. But the VA as a whole, as far as when you're starting that process, you have to understand that it's a training tool, right? It's a get back to work tool. You're not extending your post-9/11 benefits, and the way that you qualify is by filling out the application on e-benefits and meeting the general criteria. People that have a 20% disability rating have been approved. People that have an 80% disability rating have been disapproved. It just depends on the individual, their circumstance, their training, and what their eventual goal or career is.
Can you use Voc Rehab before you use your GI Bill?
Yeah, you could definitely do that. A lot of, I believe, VRNE, Vocational Rehab, encourages that.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, like I mentioned, the whole VRNE aspect, vocational rehab, the counselors in the VA that actually does the processing for that is completely aside from the general benefits area.
Okay.
Post 9/11. So it's paid out a little differently. So it's a little bit more nuanced when it comes to the processing. So you can, come off of active duty and you file disability rating. You kind of, cross your T's, dot your I's, put all your ducks in a row, and you go forth and you apply for Voc Rehab. And if you get approved, you can start that benefit immediately. And a lot of people do that because they transferred post 9/11 to their dependents, for example.
Yeah, that was a big thing as I was getting out, and I think they made it where that's permanent now, right? Where you can continue to do that, because I know they were talking about ending that benefit where you could transfer it to your.
So there's the DoD sets forth the criteria for transfer, and it's based off of the service person's time in service.
Yeah.
the amount of time that they have remaining towards retirement. Because my understanding is the implementation of the transferability rule was for retention. So it's a re-enlistment incentive.
Yeah. Yeah, because you had to do like 10 years.
Right.
I know when they first had it, it was 10 years. I don't know if it's still the same or not. Have you heard about the Montgomery GI Bill people, how they said that they just ruled in court that the government can't stop you from using both GI Bill benefits? Like if you paid into the Montgomery GI Bill, which I did. Did you?
Yeah.
$100 a month for a year
to
get the full benefits or whatever. They're talking about letting you use that after you use your 9/11 GI Bill.
So
this is like a new thing. It was in the courts like within the last 2 months, I think.
Right. So I'm not completely aware of the case, to be quite honest, but I do know for a fact that everybody can use up to 48 months of benefits, right? Whether it's vocational rehab, the regular Montgomery GI Bill, MGIB, selective reserve, post 9/11 GI Bill. So you could use up to a max of 48 months. How that works out in your favor, it just depends on the way that you qualify for all those benefits based off of your active duty service time, whether or not you're a reservist, whether you have a disability rating. So there's a lot of factors that go into kind of making that determination. But I believe the ruling as far as using both benefits is you can, to my understanding, according to the VA, you could switch from one benefit to the other. So whether or not that's actually happening now, I'm not aware of, or how that actually works, because ultimately that's up to the VA to determine.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can say in that respect is when we have a certificate of eligibility for a person, let's say somebody that's using post 9/11 GI Bill, that tells me that that person's eligible for post 9/11. Whatever is listed as far as the amount of months is what I can see or verify, and I submit a certification to the VA. Whether or not that person has months remaining is up to the VA to determine. So all I can do is vet whether or not the courses that person is enrolled in are actually towards a degree. I can report the tuition and fees. I can change the amount of units that the person is enrolled in. So those things I can manipulate based off of, student's request, or maybe an administrative proceeding from the institution. Maybe they're an unauthorized withdrawal, so on and so forth. But as far as using benefits in conjunction, to my understanding, you can use post 9/11 one semester and Chapter 35, which is dependent education assistance, the following semester. Yeah, so I believe that's how the VA has identified that. Yeah, and it's always difficult to kind of give this information, only because it's not often clear.
It's not general terms. It's hard to speak in generalities when it's very it's situation dependent.
It's very nuanced, and that's one of the key things that I let a lot of people know when they're coming in. I'm like, you may have talked to your buddy about their benefit, but it's their benefit. It's not yours, because you may only have 70% of post 9/11 where that person has 100.
Yeah.
So there may be certain things that person can do where you really can't, because you have to pay a certain amount of money out of pocket. So those are kind of the subtle nuances that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. And that's why oftentimes it takes me, quite a bit of time to get through certain certifications, because there's a lot of things that are going on. Because, an undergrad student is completely different from a graduate student, and a post 9/11 student may have, not as much leeway as a Chapter 31 student, or vice versa. It just depends.